So in this video, I'm going to teach you how to make the mindset shifts that are needed to go from being a W-2 worker into a successful real estate investor and maybe even a business leader yourself. Hey, what's going on? My name is David Green. Now, I'm a former cop who became a full-time real estate investor and then transitioned into being a real estate broker where I run a real estate sales team, a real estate mortgage. I write books, I speak, I do a lot of stuff related to real estate. And here's something I've learned during that transition. Real estate is not easy, but it is simple. It may be hard, but it's not complicated. And if you can understand the principles and the fundamentals that go into being good at real estate, you can probably be good at just about anything. All right, so let's go way back to the beginning days of my career and the journey that I took. Before I was a police officer, I was actually a waiter. I worked in restaurants. Before that, I was an athlete and I played basketball. Now, my basketball career did not turn out the way that I wanted it to, and it left me with this strong hunger, this drive to go and find success in a different part of life that I wasn't able to find in basketball. And I know a lot of you can relate to that. You had a relationship that didn't work out like you hoped it would. You weren't your parents' favorite and you know that, and it left a hole inside that you feel like you got something to prove. You were passed up for a promotion that you think you deserved. You took a job based on safety and security and you hated it. Something is going on inside of you where you know you have talent, you have drive, you have ambition, you have something of value to offer, and it's not being used. I know I'm not the only person that felt that way. Well, the first thing that I want to say is the worst thing you can do is to try to numb that pain. Don't bury it in Oreo cookies. Don't bury it in alcohol. Don't bury it by always staying busy. Don't bury it on Tinder. Find a way to live with that pain and let it fuel you, because it's the most valuable fuel that you're ever going to have. In psychology, I learned this in college. I was a psychology major. We learned about negative reinforcement. Now, a lot of people erroneously think that negative reinforcement means doing something bad to someone to get them to act how you want. That is not true. The psychological definition of negative reinforcement is the removal of adverse stimuli from an environment to get somebody to do what you want them to do. So imagine positive reinforcement would be the person running the experiment giving a mouse a pellet of food every time it touched the part of the floor that the experimenter wanted it to touch. You can get a mouse to do it by giving it positive reinforcement. But what's even more powerful is if the mouse is in some kind of pain and touching that part of the floor make the pain go away. That is negative reinforcement. So if I tell you, hey, I'll give you a lollipop if you do what I want, that's positive reinforcement. But if I say, hey, I'll let you come in from outside where it's cold and rainy if you do what I want, that is negative reinforcement, and negative reinforcement is much more powerful. So why am I explaining this to you? Well, it's because if you're already in pain, I'm not saying we need to go make you be in pain, but you're already in pain. Stop numbing it. Your body's natural desire to get out of pain will be the ambition that you need to get out of the place you're in and into the next place of life. So the first piece of advice I want to give you is to stop wasting your pain, stop numbing your pain. Let yourself feel it and let the drive to get out of that pain start to fuel you. Now, once I got into the waiter world, I was all about being the best employee that I could be. I wanted to win on as many tables as well as I could, as efficiently as I could, and do it as many times of the week as I possibly could. A lot of my friends were partying, they were getting drunk, they were taking vacations. My mindset was, I'm a young kid in college. I have no problems. I have no family. I have very few responsibilities. What do I need a vacation from? My life's pretty freaking easy. All that I need to be doing is working, saving money, and staying focused on my vision. Now, many people watching this video do have other responsibilities, but in many ways, your life is not as hard as the world is trying to tell you that it is. You live in a temperature-controlled environment most of the time. Very few of us do any kind of physical labor all day long that's actually exhausting. Most of what makes life hard is the expectation that we all have that it should be easier, and anything that feels a little bit difficult makes us think we're being robbed of something. That's not true. I want you to pierce through that BS. Life is not supposed to be easy for you, but you can make it easy for you by your own efforts. And that's the second thing I want you to understand about the mindset shift that has to happen. There is a vision of the good life that is out there that is a good thing. that should drive you to do hard things and let the pain that you've already had fuel you to get to that good life. If you think that you are entitled to that good life, or you just should have it, someone else should be providing it for you, you are wrong, and that's why you are not happy. The drive to get the good life is powerful. The belief that you should just have it on its own is seductive, but it's wrong. So letting go of this belief that someone else is supposed to give it to you or do it for you rather than you going and get it yourself is a problem. Now, what happens in that journey of going and getting the life that we want? Well, here's the cool thing. It forces you to become a better version of you. And in many ways, that's what this is all about. When I decided I wanted to be something more than a waiter, I had graduated college. I realized law enforcement was where I was being called to be. I didn't really know why, but I knew it was something that I had to do. I was forced to deal with the fact that the current version of David was not good enough to get the job I wanted. I was deathly afraid of rejection. I didn't do anything in life that I didn't think I had 100% chance of being successful at because I could not stand failure. I had terrible self-esteem. I had a very low opinion of myself, and I had a rough relationship with my dad when I was younger that had created that scenario. I know a lot of you can relate to that too. You had a mother and nothing you did was ever good enough. You had a father that didn't pay attention. If you did do something good, they said you could do better. Many of you understand that whole, you got all A's and one B, why'd you get the B? Instead of why'd you get the 4 A's? So many people have these struggles they're dealing with, and they just sit in those struggles rather than realizing that that struggle will be the best gift that they ever had, that it can drive them to do more. And on the other side of that, you realize that's all your parents were trying to get out of you. They weren't trying to keep you down. They weren't trying to hold you back. They wanted you to have more. In the meantime, you feel like you're not enough, and maybe you are afraid to put yourself in scenarios where you might fail. Well, I had to learn where that was coming from. I read the book Wild at Heart by John Eldredge. That did a ton to help me understand I'm not the only person feeling these things, and they're happening for a specific reason. Well, once I understood what the problem was, I was faced with a very simple decision. Do I start taking actions to build up the muscles that are weak, or do I avoid ever having those muscles exposed? Now, most of us that are not happy with our lives are not happy because we are avoiding the muscles that are weak that we don't want exposed. You're skipping leg day in a lot of different areas of your life. Well, the way that you get better is you start doing leg day. You deal with the sore muscles. You'll deal with the fact that it's a hard thing to work out and you don't get a lot of attention for it, but it's the foundation. It's the base of success that you're going to have. If you've been skipping leg day, that's probably why you're not in the good enough shape to get the job, the opportunity, the promotion that you really want. So another mindset shift, stop skipping leg day, quit doing only the things you're comfortable at or only the things you're good at. Put yourself in a position where you're strengthening the areas that are weak. For me, that meant applying over and over and over and over and over for all of these different law enforcement jobs. There were 14 different agencies that I applied for, filled out incredibly long paperwork for, went through an exhausting, excruciating background check, went to physical testing, went through psychological testing, went through different interviews, took different mental tests where I was tested on different things. Over and over and over, I went through this. And in some way I was told, nope, we don't want you for all of these different reasons. I remember one place said I had too many speeding tickets to be eligible. It was constant rejection over and over and over, but I had to keep going. Now, what happened through that process is that I stopped fearing rejection. I stopped worrying about getting knocked down because I realized, well, I can just get up. So a knockdown was not, oh my gosh, I have to hide my face. I can't show myself in public. I failed at something. That's what it was before. At the end of this journey, I didn't fear getting knocked down anymore. And when the fear of it was gone, the power of it was gone. When I wasn't afraid of trying something new and failing at it, it opened up an amazing amount of doors in my life that I could choose to walk through. And I just had to figure out which one was better for me. So embracing that the current version of David was not enough for what I wanted and being humble enough to accept that was a huge mindset shift that I had to make. Once I made it, personally, my fear of rejection went away and confidence started to replace it. I started to go confidently into these interviews and tell these law enforcement agencies, you should hire me, and here is why. I will work harder than anyone that you put in front of me. I will not quit no matter what happens. And ultimately, that's what got me the job. When I sat at the oral interview and I looked at who would later become my Sergeant Raffanon, and I said, if you don't hire me, it will be the biggest mistake you ever made. There will not be a better deputy sheriff in your department. And I could see the impact that that confidence had on him, which ultimately led to me getting that job. What's your situation where you're afraid? Is it rejection? Is it being passed over? Is it conflict? You've got something going on inside of you that is stopping you from being your very best. And that has to go away. You cannot find success if you let that thing stay inside of your life, at least not any kind of meaningful success, because the version of you that you're going to need to be to succeed in that new realm, real estate investing, business ownership, whatever it is, those are the things that are stopping you from being good there. You have to get rid of them, and you're not going to get rid of them until you work them out, and you're not going to work them out until you stop skipping leg day. So embrace your weaknesses, understand they're there, start working on improving them, and be okay with the fact that the current version of you is not good enough to get what you want out of life, but the future version of you will be. So once I became a police officer, I had a 10-year career where I was challenged, where I had to grow, where I grew in confidence, where I grew in influence and leadership. I really went from being a boy into a man from that experience. Well, just like everything else in life, at a certain point, you hit a ceiling. And I realized that I still had a lot to offer. Maybe I had more to offer after going through these experiences than I did before, and I wasn't able to offer it in the law enforcement realm. I was being drawn into the world of entrepreneurship, a beautiful world with no ceilings and a terrifying world with no floors. As an entrepreneur, you can make as much money as you possibly could. No one will stop you. That's the no ceiling element. At the same time, as an entrepreneur, nobody is holding you up. No one is guaranteeing your paycheck. Nobody is ensuring that you do okay. That's the no floor part. So if you want to make it as an entrepreneur, you have to have the confidence to make it for yourself. And this is another mindset shift that has to be made, that you have to stop relying on other people in the world to take care of you. You have to stop relying on your boss to give you a paycheck, whether you earned it or not. You have to stop relying on OSHA to keep you safe because you don't want to care about your own safety. You have to stop relying on regulations or rules or officials or agencies or opportunities or an environment where somebody else has made it impossible for you to fail. We are addicted to that, and we don't know it in so many ways. So by insisting on keeping the floor so you can't fall, you're also insisting on keeping the ceiling, which creates a cage. If you want to escape that cage, you have to be okay knowing that everything relies on you. Now, that's what I had to go through as a police officer. I had to let go of that as I stepped into real estate sales, where my income was not guaranteed. The only thing that was guaranteed is I would have a fair shot, just as fair a shot as everyone else. Now, let me ask you, are you in a job and you're afraid to leave it because you can't go without that paycheck? Are you spending money on dumb things that is keeping you enslaved to a job? Every time you get ahead, you go buy a new car and lock yourself into these payments so that you can't leave that job because you wouldn't be able to pay for your car. Are you sabotaging yourself in certain ways that are keeping you from leaving the security of that job, which is also keeping you from having the freedom that you really want in life? That's a mindset shift that has to happen. So many of you watching this video have so much more to offer, but you're not able to offer it because you're locked in place and you're stuck and you're terrified of leaving the guaranteed paycheck of your W-2 job. So when I was working as a police officer, I was able to accumulate a decent portfolio of rental properties. I probably had 8 to 10 properties at that time. And technically I did have enough cash flow that I could have retired at that point and lived off of the passive income. I just wasn't going to be able to live the life I wanted to live at that level of passive income. I also realized that there's more to doing this than just making money. It forces personal growth, and that can be addicting too. So rather than staying in this mentality of keep grinding, keep buying properties, do the same thing that's comfortable, I recognized that working 100 hours of overtime in a week was not sustainable. I wasn't going to be able to continue doing that just to buy rental properties. So I needed to find a way to make money that was not as taxing on my body. That was becoming a real estate agent. So once I went into becoming a real estate agent, I had to start all the way over. I had to go back to the grind. I had to be humble. I had to learn a whole new industry. And I had to have faith that if I kept working at it, eventually I would become successful, because it's scary. You don't know that it's going to work. I had to deal with all the same fears that I had to take at every other transition point in my life when I was jumping from one place to the next. Now, eventually I built a sales team, and that forced me to develop a leadership mindset. That's another mindset shift that people have to make. You can't live as a follower your whole life. At a certain point, you need to lead, inspire, and influence other people to get them supporting you in your vision and to help create a better life for them. And many of us are afraid of leadership. We're afraid of being in a position where we can make a mistake and it can affect other people. We're afraid of embracing the greatness that's inside of us because it's more comfortable to think that we can't do any more than we've already been doing. So we just stay in our little cage. So many investors look on the return on investment, the ROI of their money that they're putting in a deal. And that creates the false impression that the only thing you're investing is into the deal and money. You're investing a lot more than that. And you want to look at the ROI on more than just your money. You're putting time into the deal. You're putting energy into the deal. You're putting attention into the deal. You're putting all these things that are actually very, very valuable to human beings. And you need to be investing in yourself, not just in real estate. How much time are you putting into making you a better version of yourself? How much effort and attention are you putting into dealing with the parts of your personality that are holding you back from having more? And how much are you just avoiding it? How much are you taking care of your personal health? Are you eating healthy foods? Are you making time to exercise in the day? Are you making time for important relationships? Are you giving yourself downtime to recover? Are you making sure that the conversations you have are purposeful and you are leading and controlling in what direction those conversations go? Or are you letting other people control the way that conversations go, letting other people control the direction that your mind thinks in and that you take? Many investors know when they're buying a deal, they need to be in charge of that deal, but they don't think about their life as a whole. So here's a mindset shift I'd like for you to make. Consider yourself the investment. Are you treating yourself like a grade A property in a great location where you're trying to pump up the ROI to get as much as you can? Or are you trading yourself like a property in a D+ area while you're trying to buy properties in A+ areas? If that incongruency is there, it's not going to work. So one of the last mindset shifts I'm going to ask you to consider is to stop looking at investing like a job. A job is a place where you clock in from a starting point to an ending point. And when you leave the job there. Investing is a lifestyle. You are always looking for the next deal. You are always organizing your finances to have enough money set aside so you can take advantage of it. You're always learning about new ways to do the same thing better, easier, more efficiently, and faster. You're trying to enjoy yourself while you're investing in real estate. It's an amazing life. You can be going to conferences, learning about fun things, making new friends, having a good time, and making money all at the same time. The old mindset is I'm either having work or I'm having fun. I'm working for someone else or I'm working for myself. When you get into real estate investing, it all becomes the same world. And you can find ways to have a great social life, great relationships, genuine friendships, genuine income, and a better life than you had before, all while making money. So you have to quit looking at things like they are black or they are white. Investing is a gray world that we live in, and you can make money while having fun much easier. So let's talk about some of the things that real estate investing has done for me. It's helped build my confidence. It's got me out of a job where I was locked into a location and giving me freedom to make money from anywhere. It's helped provide me with financial freedom. So now I don't live in fear all the time of if I can afford something or where money is going to come from. It's given me a platform to continue to grow and influence other people so that they can have the same. One of the coolest things about where I am now from some of the mindset shifts that were made is I have the ability to influence others into having a better life than what they had before. In short, I can give back. But here's what's cool. In giving back, I'm not actually losing anything. Real estate has created this amazing gray space that I talk about, where giving back can have other people that will also help me, where giving back makes me feel better. While sitting down and making a video like this will help a lot of people in the same way that I wish somebody had helped me, but it will also improve my chances of landing my next deal, where it will make me feel better about myself when people say, hey, we really appreciate what you're sharing. And you can have the same thing. The best life is one where you get to enjoy what you do and help other people in doing it at the same time. I've never liked the idea of giving back where I had to go work a bunch of hours at a job to take the paycheck and give it to somebody else, and then go work more hours in order to get another paycheck to give back to myself. I like the idea where I'm helping someone else and it also helps me. I'm a huge fan of mutually beneficial relationships. So I hope that you got some benefit out of this video. I hope that the wheels are turning in your mind in ways that they weren't turning before, and that you're feeling a surge of confidence that maybe you didn't have. That makes me feel good if that's the case. If so, please leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about this video and the content inside of it. Also, I've shared a little bit about my life. If there's more about my life you guys would like to see, put that in the comments as well and let me know what you think. Lastly, if there's someone else in your life that you think needs to hear this, if there's a person that you know is struggling in the sense that they have more value to give than what they're actually giving in life, please consider sending them this video and letting them know that you love them. Thanks a lot. I really appreciate it. Please check out some of my other videos and subscribe to this channel so that you can get notified when a new video is released.